Somewhere in deep space, something is sending a signal. Not once, not randomly. Every 16 days, precise as clockwork, it fires, and then goes silent, and then fires again. It has been doing this for years, and every scientist on the planet who has looked at it has walked away with the same answer. They do not know what it is. Fast radio bursts are among the most energetic events ever detected in the universe. Millisecond flashes of radio energy so powerful they can be detected across billions of light years of space. Most of them fire once and never repeat. But in 2020, astronomers detected one that did something no fast radio burst had ever done before. It came back on a schedule. And that schedule, precise, consistent, and completely unexplained, is what changed everything about how scientists think about what might be out there. In 2020, the KIME radio telescope in British Columbia, Canada, detected something that stopped the team analyzing the data in their tracks. A fast radio burst, cataloged as FRB 20201124A, was not behaving the way fast radio bursts were supposed to behave. It had been detected multiple times. And when the team began mapping the detections against a timeline, a pattern emerged that none of them had seen before. Every 16 days, the signal would become active, firing repeatedly across a 4-day window, then silence for 12 days, then active again, 4 days on, 12 days off, repeating with a consistency that the instruments confirmed across observation after observation. The first response in situations like this is always to look for the error. Check the equipment, check the data processing, check whether something in the telescope's own systems could be producing a false pattern. The KIME team did all of this. The pattern held. The signal was real, it was external, and it was doing something that random cosmic events are not supposed to do. It was being regular. The scientific community's response moved through a familiar sequence. Initial disbelief, then cautious interest, then serious investigation, as independent teams with independent instruments confirmed what KIME had recorded. The signal was coming from a location approximately 500 million light years away, a distance so vast that the light and radio waves arriving at Earth now left their source before complex multicellular life existed on this planet. But the pattern was only the beginning of what made this signal unlike anything ever recorded, because when they traced it back to its source, what they found raised more questions than it answered. To understand why the 16-day pattern matters, you first need to understand what a fast radio burst actually is, and what it takes to produce one. A single fast radio burst lasts for milliseconds, less time than it takes to blink. In that fraction of a second, it releases more energy than the sun produces over the course of several days. Not in light, in radio waves, focused, directional, detectable across 500 million light years of space. The energy output required to produce something detectable at that distance, in that time frame, is difficult to put into numbers that feel real. The most powerful nuclear weapon ever detonated by humans would not register against it. The signal from FRB 20201124A follows a cycle that has now been confirmed across extended observation periods, 4 days of activity, during which multiple bursts fire in irregular intervals, followed by 12 days of complete silence. The 4-day active window is not itself regular. The bursts within it are random in timing and intensity, but the window itself, the start and stop of that active period, repeats on a 16-day cycle with a precision that is not consistent with most known random astrophysical processes. 500 million light years is the confirmed distance. The source region has been narrowed to a specific area of a distant galaxy. The physical location is known. What is sitting in that location, producing this pattern, is not. And here is where every natural explanation starts to break down. Because a repeating pattern at this precision suggests something that random cosmic events simply do not produce. The scientific community has not been idle. Several serious theoretical frameworks have been proposed to explain the 16-day cycle, and each of them tells part of the story, but none of them tell all of it. The leading natural explanation is the magnetar theory. Magnetars are neutron stars with extraordinarily powerful magnetic fields, the most magnetically intense objects known to exist. They are capable of producing the energy levels required for fast radio bursts, and several confirmed FRBs have been linked to magnetar activity within our own galaxy. The problem is that magnetar behavior does not naturally produce a precise 16-day on-off cycle. Magnetar flares are energetic but irregular. The pattern does not fit. The binary system theory proposes that the signal source is in orbit around another massive object, a companion star or black hole. As it orbits, the signal is periodically blocked or beamed away from Earth, creating the appearance of a cycle. This is a workable framework, except that the orbital period required to produce a 16-day cycle does not match the characteristics of known binary systems at this scale and distance. A third theory involves a precessing neutron star, an object whose rotational axis wobbles over time, sweeping its emission beam across the sky like a lighthouse with an irregular rotation. Precession could produce cyclical visibility, but the calculations required to make precession produce a consistent 16-day cycle at this distance involve assumptions that remain unverified. Every theory explains part of it. None explain all of it. And that is the part that keeps astrophysicists awake at night. There is a question that exists at the edge of every serious scientific conversation about FRB 202011224A. It is not asked loudly. It is not featured in the titles of peer-reviewed papers, but it is asked. Could this be artificial? The search for extraterrestrial intelligence has maintained for decades a framework for what a technosignature, a signal produced by technology rather than nature, might look like. Repeatability is one of the criteria. Pattern is another. Energy output consistent with an advanced civilization is a third. FRB 202011224A satisfies more of those criteria than any other signal ever detected. A civilization capable of producing energy at this scale would sit at what theoretical physicist Nikolai Kardashev classified as a Type 2 civilization, one capable of harnessing the total energy output of its own star. The 16-day cycle, if intentional, would represent a form of transmission that any sufficiently advanced receiver in a significant portion of the galaxy could detect, including us. Mainstream science does not embrace this conclusion, not because it is impossible, but because the standard of evidence required to make that claim responsibly is higher than what currently exists. An unexplained pattern is not proof of intelligence. It is an unexplained pattern. The history of astronomy is full of signals that seemed inexplicable until they were not. But here is what makes this signal different from every other unexplained phenomenon in the history of the search. Most unexplained phenomena, given enough time and enough instruments pointed at them, resolve. A pattern emerges. A mechanism is identified. The mystery closes. This one has not closed. The signal is still active. Right now, on its 16-day cycle, FRB 202011224A is either firing or in its silent phase, and will be doing exactly the same thing next week, and the week after, and the week after that. It is not a historical anomaly. It is an ongoing event that has been repeating since before it was discovered and has not stopped since. The source is 500 million light-years away. Whatever produced the first burst that Keim detected did so 500 million years ago, before the Cambrian explosion, before the first fish, before anything with a spine had ever existed on this planet. If it is natural, it has been doing this for at least 500 million years. If it is artificial, whatever built it built something that has been running, uninterrupted, for longer than complex animal life has existed on Earth. There are only two honest conclusions available. Either the universe contains a natural mechanism capable of producing a precisely repeating, extraordinarily energetic signal across billions of years, and we have simply not identified it yet, or something produced this deliberately, and has no idea that a small planet 500 million light-years away recently developed the technology to notice. Either conclusion, examined honestly, changes the way you think about what this universe contains and where we sit within it. One means our understanding of physics has a gap large enough to hide something fundamental. The other means we are not alone, and we have been receiving the evidence on a 16-day schedule for years without being able to say so with certainty. The signal fired again while you were watching this. It will fire again in 16 days. If this changed the way you think about what might be out there, hit like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, do you think this signal is natural or something else entirely?